In the evening, Lyria returned to her grandmother's residence. She walked towards her room located near the servants' quarters.
Miss Lyria, you're back.
The head servant, who had worked in the residence for quite a long time, greeted Lyria. This woman felt genuine pity for Lyria. She was the only one who cared for Lyria, but she couldn't be too good to her as her superior wouldn't be pleased.
Yes, Aunt Jane.
Have you had dinner, miss?
Yes, Aunt.
All right, then please rest. You must be tired after work.
Yes, Aunt.
Lyria entered her room. In this residence, she was treated no better than a servant, and that's why she had the same room as the other maids. In the past, when her father was still alive, she would live in her parents' house, and her life was very comfortable. However, after her parents' accident, their house was sold to pay off her father's debts. Before he passed away, her father had made some wrong investments that led to heavy debt. Lyria had no remaining assets. That's why she lived with her grandmother and was treated unfairly as if she was a burden there. To complete her studies, she had to work part-time. Her grandmother's family only paid for her tuition, but never gave her any pocket money. Whenever someone mentioned that she was working part-time, her grandmother would find an excuse to put her in a bad light. Lyria never wasted time arguing with her grandmother, as she knew her grandmother would say more to tarnish her reputation, not to mention her aunt and cousins. She had long been seen as an ungrateful girl. Lyria's phone rang, and she took it out from her bag to answer the call from her husband.
Have you arrived?
Yes, just arrived.
I rest well?
Axelsev felt that his fate was really pitiful. He had just married Lyria, but now she was leaving him for quite some time. Tonight, he would sleep alone, although last night was so good with Lyria in his arms serving as his living pillow.
You rest well too. Don't sleep too late.
All right, my wife.
There was a knock on Lyria's door.
Miss, it's Aunt Jane.
Axel, I'll end the call. Good night.
It's good night.
Lyria approached the door.
What is it, Aunt Jane?
Madame Two Eyes waiting for you in the family room.
All right, Aunt.
Lyria guessed her grandmother probably wanted to talk about the wedding, which was less than a week away. With reluctance, Lyria went to the family room. Her grandmother and aunt were already there. These two women of different generations always made a good pair to oppress her.
Tomorrow, immediately resign from your job.
Mallory started giving orders that Lyria couldn't accept. She loved her job. How could she possibly resign?
Why should I resign?
Because you'll be getting married soon. Besides, after marriage, they won't allow you to work.
Mallory said nonchalantly. Her eyes always looked at her with disgust. Lyria had no idea what had caused her grandmother to treat her and her parents this way.
After resigning, you have to go with George's mother to choose your wedding dress. The Luther family wants a decent wedding for their son.
I won't resign?
Don't challenge me too much, Lyria. Your mother's life is in my hands.
Mallory threatened Lyria again.
Grandmother, aren't you ashamed of constantly threatening me like this?
Lyria mocked her grandmother. Mallory started getting angry. She would never be able to speak nicely with Lyria.
Stop making your grandmother angry, Lyria. Just do what your grandmother says.
Lyria remained silent, but her eyes were filled with anger.
Tomorrow you will go with George's mother. Don't embarrass our family with your behavior.
How much money did you get by selling me to them?
Lyria, don't be insolent. We have spent quite a sum on your mother's treatment, and we also paid for your education. Now you just have to pay us back.
Grandmother, I thought I was paying you back, along with the interest.
Lyria knew her grandmother gained much more from the amount they spent on her and her mother. Her grandmother was obviously a cunning woman who always calculated her gains and never wanted to lose.
Stop your nonsense, Lyria. Just need to do as your grandmother says.
Eugene said fiercely.
I'm done talking. Get out of here. You're ruining the scenery.
Mallory said sharply. Lyria clenched her fists. She was determined to make her grandmother furious after this. This morning, Lyria didn't go to work again. She didn't submit a resignation letter, but asked for help from Axelsev once more. She needed 5 days off until the wedding day arrived. At 10 in the morning, Lyria went with Rebecca, George's mother. The woman was dressed lavishly, a nouveau riche who wanted to display her wealth.
Choose the gown you want.
Rebecca commanded, taking Lyria to an expensive boutique with many beautiful wedding dresses.
Forget it. Let me choose. Your taste is surely low. It will disgrace the Luther family.
Rebecca spoke again. In less than 24 hours with Lyria, she had already belittled her significantly. Rebecca spotted a beautiful gown.
Wear that one.
Lyria felt that Rebecca truly belonged in the same social circle as her grandmother and aunt. They were all arrogant and looked down on others. To ensure everything went smoothly, Lyria tried on the gown selected by Rebecca. She was assisted by the shop attendants in putting on the rather heavy dress. Now, Lyria stood in front of a very tall mirror, her whole body visible in the white wedding dress. Lyria found it ironic. She had always wanted to wear a gown like this on her wedding day with Raisin. But sadly, that dream was shattered when Raisin unilaterally broke off their engagement. Lyria no longer had any feelings left for Raisin. She only regretted her futile fantasies about him. Fortunately, she now had a husband who was infinitely better than Raisin. God had prepared a truly perfect man for her. Her phone rang, and she answered the call from her husband.
What are you doing now?
Axelsev always wanted to know what Lyria was up to. He would be very happy if he could be with her at all times.
Trying on wedding dresses.
My wife is quite daring. She married me, but is trying on wedding dresses for another man.
You know it's not like that, Axel.
I'm very jealous now.
You're being childish.
Send me a photo of you in the wedding dress.
Okay,
Lyria ended the call and asked one of the shop attendants to take a photo for her.
thank you.
Lyria said to the attendant, and she sent the photo to Axelsev. Axelsev called Lyria again.
You look stunning. I want to take you home now. It would be great if we held the wedding ceremony very soon.
Don't be ridiculous. Let's talk about it later.
Okay. Never think about being a bride for another man. I will definitely kill that man.
Axelsev was truly possessive. Lyria smiled softly, her heart warmed by Axelsev's words.
I won't.
Goodbye, I miss you so much.
Goodbye. I miss you too.
Lyria ended the call and saw two shop attendants looking at her strangely. She walked out of the dressing room. Rebecca, who was reading a magazine, shifted her gaze to Lyria.
The beautiful dress really makes an ugly duckling look good.
Lyria gave Rebecca a flat look. Ugly duckling. Who was blind? She clearly had a beautiful face. Lyria thought maybe Rebecca needed to go to the hospital for an eye checkup.
I'll buy the dress.
Rebecca handed over her card to pay for the gown.
Let's go look at jewelry. I don't want people to think the Luther family is poor because the bride doesn't wear decent jewelry.
Okay, madam.
Lyria didn't want to argue with Rebecca. She just followed the woman.
You're very lucky that I chose you to be my son's companion. You truly are a Cinderella turned into a beautiful princess.
Lyria nearly spat blood at Rebecca's words. Lucky. How could she be lucky when she was going to live with a mentally disabled man for the rest of her life? Lyria really didn't understand how Rebecca's mind worked. Was life really just about enjoying wealth?